Hi, I'm Brad Turpin, and in this video, I'll show you how to add custom columns to this systems grid in SystemLink. I'm going to add columns that pull from tags that are updated for each of these client systems. And when those columns have been added, we need to save that configuration. Otherwise, the next time you refresh the table, it will disappear. The way that you save column configurations is in something called a table view. And every user that logs into SystemLink has, for each table in SystemLink, a set of views that they can choose from. Initially, you just have the default view. I happen to have created a second view already called OEE Customization, and now I want to create a third view that contains these two additional columns pulling a tag value and a tag date time. The tag that I'm going to pull is the CPU 0 percentage, meaning the percentage usage of the 0th CPU on the client system. And I'll create a view that has the name CPU 0 percentage to remind me of that. And that's what this looks like. I see CPU 0 percentage, it'll have those two columns, and if I switch back to default, it'll have the original view. So now what I need to do is to edit this CPU 0 view by adding the two columns. But before I can add the two columns, I need to get the address or the tag path of that CPU 0 tag that I want to use to define those two new columns. And the easiest way to do that is to grab one of these connected client systems and navigate to that particular tag in the details view. So I'll double click on this desktop 1 client and make sure I'm in the alarms and tags tab and scroll down and look at that, it's the first one. Once again, I'll double click on this health CPU 0 tag to get its details, and you can see the entire history of this tag on this client system, as well as the full path. Now, the way the custom columns work is that for tag values, you just specify the last part of the tag address, meaning the part after the system ID. Everything here from precision 3630 all the way over to 67-ED, that's the minion ID or the address of the client system itself. And then the health CPU 0 use percentage, that's the particular tag that we're going to look at on that client system. So I'll hit Control C to copy that tag address and zip back to the systems table. And now we have everything set up and we're ready to add two new columns. You configure the columns by clicking on these three parallel lines. You get a pull-out window, and at the bottom of that window, you can add new columns. You can add columns of three different types. We're going to choose a tag, but you could also choose system properties or even a Jupyter notebook that you call that returns information. This is where we provide the tag path, health CPU 0 use percentage, and you can see that the system ID is going to be offered up for each row in the table automatically, such that the full tag path will have the system ID and then the health use percentage at the end. You have choices about what information you want to display from this tag. We're going to have just the value, the current value of the tag display, but you could also instead choose the maximum or the minimum or the average, and the second column is going to be the timestamp. And then you need to provide the header to display for this column. I'm going to once again choose CPU 0 percentage, since this is the actual tag value column. And you can see now we have a new column called CPU 0 percentage. And I'm going to add one more, pulling from the same tag, but this time pulling from the timestamp. When was the last time that that tag's value was updated? And because it's the time, I'll now call it CPU 0 percentage time in the column header. And you can move these around. I'm going to move them up a little bit so that they've got plenty of room. The date time takes a little bit to display, and hit OK. And now we get two new columns, CPU 0 percentage and CPU 0 percentage time. Notice that the table view has an asterisk. That means there are changes that have not been saved. So you need to click into this table view and choose Save to get rid of that asterisk so that you can save these two column configurations. This is important because otherwise the work we did to configure those columns will disappear as soon as we refresh this page or click to a different page and come back to it. So I'll make a little bit more room here, and you can see immediately the table view shows that it's not saving that yet. So I'll do one more save because I like to be able to see the whole date time range. So now you can see at a glance for all of the client systems that are connected and the ones that aren't connected, when was the last time that that tag updated and what is the value of that tag? This is very useful for debugging client connection problems because one of the last steps in the connection cycle is for the client system to start sending data to SystemLink over the web service API. And if that's working for this health metric tag, it'll probably also work for files and test records.